What's up, you fucking monkeys? And today, I'm gonna show you how to build a computer for $400. Let's get right to it, bitches.
For the motherboard, I chose the MSI B450M Micro ATX for $70 fucking dollars. For $35, we have 16 gigs of DDR4 dog shit memory from T-Force. Shit goes so hard it blue screens on occasion. For storage, we have a 512 gigabyte SSD from T-Force. $31 fucking dollars. And for airflow, I found this fan in my garage. You already know how we do it. $0. Eat that, Bill Gates. And for $80 and a 10-piece from McDonald's, we got the GTX 1060. Who the fuck is Ray and why is he tracing? And for the CPU, we got the AMD Ryzen 5 4500 6-core. We don't need any more cores. And for the PSU, we got a 600-watt Thermaltake power supply. $40, bitch. And for the case, first, grab your motherboard. Open that shit. Then, pull it out of the box. Then, take it out of the plastic wrap. Put it on the box. Like that. Your motherboard should also come with a SATA cable. That's for your hard drives and shit. This is for your M.2 SSD. We don't need that shit, we're broke. Firmly grasp the CPU. Grab your Crambit Autotronic.
Okay, perfect.
Open that shit. Grab the CPU out of the box. Take a good look at that shit. Open the little plastic protective container. Grab the CPU cooler and put it aside. This is the most important part. This is the CPU sticker. This goes on the front of the case. You cannot mess this up. This is a very important procedure. Then we're going to be installing the CPU to the motherboard. You're going to want to line it up with the arrows. Make sure you're also holding the CPU by its corners and edges. Do not touch the bottom of the CPU. Don't touch that shit. Just don't touch it. And it's as simple as that. Also, you're gonna wanna grab your screwdriver, unscrew all the bullshit MSI puts on their fucking motherboards. Like, why? What the fuck is this? I don't know what this is doing for me. Then we're gonna install the CPU cooler. Screw on each quarter of the CPU cooler evenly as to not break the board or fuck up the screwing in of the CPU cooler. So just do it evenly. Just take your time. No, don't rush this. After you're done screwing in all four corners of the CPU cooler, make sure you plug in this little dongle here to this little connector thingy here. This connector provides power to the fan. You need to do this. This next part is extremely important, y'all. I need y'all to stay with me here. Focus up. We're gonna need every ounce of focus. This is very important.
We're done with this. Look here. Bedside table.
And that's how you install your CPU cooler. Great job, you're done with that part. After a quick switch of our PC specialist, it's time to install our RAM. Open up the plastic, make sure you dual wield the RAM, and then install the RAM into these little slots here. There should be a little divot in the middle so it can only go one way. Make sure it makes that click sound.
Now what?
Now that all the parts are on the motherboard, it's time to grab this free piece of metal that came with your motherboard. Unscrew the panel screws for the case, and then grab the side panel and throw it away. We don't need that right now. We just don't need it. With that complimentary piece of metal, grab that and just pop that motherfucker in. Just like that, with the little prongs facing in the case, just like that. It's gonna look a little something like this, nice and flush. Next, we're gonna pull out our power supply unit. Carefully pop that bitch open. It's gonna come with some zip ties and screws. You don't wanna give it a little taste test just in case. Along with the power cable, it's also gonna come with this big metal box. This is what we're gonna use to power the computer. After ripping off the plastic, it's as simple as dropping the power supply in, grabbing the included zip ties and screws, and screwing it in carefully.
Plug it in. Fill me up inside.
Record the fucking screwing!
After you're finished screwing in the power supply, it should look a little something like this. Beautiful.
God damn, what a mess.
And with that, it's time to pop the motherboard inside. You're gonna want to grab the little baggie that's attached to the cables for the case. It's got all your screws and shit, so you can put the fucking motherboard in there. Quickly, grab the screws that look like this, and slowly drop them into the holes that are on the case. This is so you can line up the screws for the motherboard. After that's done, you can go ahead and just drop the motherboard in there. No need to think about it too much. Just make sure you do this very quickly or else you're gonna run out of time. Carefully screw in the motherboard. Slowly screw it in. After that's done, you're pretty much almost done building the computer. Just a couple more things and we're done. Also, while you weren't looking, I zip tied this fan onto the PC case. Next, grab your case connectors. These are the ones that were attached to that little baggie earlier. Then proceed to plug in those cables that directly align with the diagram for the motherboard. I'm not going to show you where they are or how to do it. There's a fucking manual, so just read off of that and put them where they go. I don't need to explain this much. It's very simple. But what I will show is how to plug these in because it's very simple and easy for me to show on camera. The big one goes here and the small one goes right there. Pretty simple. Also, don't forget to plug in your USB 3.0 header. This one allows you to use USB 3.0 on your case. Next up, we're going to be hooking up our SSD. This is going to be one of the easiest ones since it's just pretty much a cable and screws. You're also going to need a very long blade, a very long one, super long. Pull the SSD out of the box, sheath your super long sword, grab your SATA cable that came with the motherboard, rip out the plastic, grab your SATA power connectors and hook them up to the SSD.
I'm gonna hook this into the motherboard.
Hook the SATA connector up into the motherboard just like this. Grab the other end of the SATA connector and hook that shit up into the fucking SSD just like that, motherfucker. Just like. Don't forget to screw in your SSD. That thing needs to be fucking locked in sturdy. Now your SSD's installed, it's time for the GPU. We've been waiting for this all day. This is a brand new card. Definitely not 8 years old. This is perfectly brand new. Now installing the GPU is actually super difficult, so I'm gonna let my PC specialist Noah take over.
For you, Jake motherfucker. So it's called a latch. Listen for the click. Open.
That's how you... That's so beautiful. After that, it's as simple as dropping the GPU into the PCIe slot and...
Listen for the click. They're solid.
See how it's fucking latched on there? You can't pull it out anymore because it's fucking latched on there. Make sure you screw in the GPU before this last step. Grab your PCIe power connector. It should have 8 pins. You're gonna want to make it a 6-pin connector since that's how many our GPU has. And then it's just that simple, baby.
That's it.
That's
We're done. That's the PC. We're done.
I never built that fast in my life.
And there she is, your finished PC. Feel free to pop a couple of gritties, even dropping a couple of Fortnite dances just to get the edge off from building that computer. Hold on one second, you forgot one thing. You forgot to put the side panel back on, you dumbass. What are you doing? Put the side panel on. And it's done. It's finally done. The PC of your dreams is complete. All that's left to do now is power it on. But wait a second. Why isn't it powering on? What could you have done? You forgot to power on the power supply.
Dude, what the...
One more try and it should power on perfectly, just like that. Once it finishes powering on, it's important to check that every component that's connected to the motherboard is visual on the BIOS. This is super important as it'll tell you whether or not you have any malfunctioning components in the motherboard. The last step is to install Windows on your new computer, and then you're completely finished. It's just that simple. You're welcome. And for extra credit, you can always go back and make sure that all the components are seated correctly into the computer, just to make sure you didn't fuck anything up along the way. It's really important you do this.